Delivery. What could it be? I don't need to see my address. If Ramona lets me inside. Alright. So, gotta make sure we don't get my address. So, obviously you guys know what this is because I put it in the thumbnail. But we're still gonna do a proper unboxing. It's like a magic trick. I'm like covering up Ramona. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is the GB 45th SRR. Let's open her up. We're getting close for this. They want to hear this. Hey, get a little video going on. Alright, so we'll do a proper checkout of this. We have here the official certificate of authenticity. So we'll keep that safe. Alright, so this is the beauty. Let's dive in. Just wanted to give you a little alone time with this beauty before we get started. So we're gonna tune this up real quick. If you don't know, most of the time when you ship a guitar, you wanna detune the strings because the pressure, in some cases, can increase the tension and pop the string. So they have done that. I just need to tune it back up. I'm sure you guys know that tune, Affirmation by George Benson. Today we are going to check out this treasure. This is the GB 45th-SRR 5B-01 guitar owned by George Benson that I have recently acquired.
This is my latest creation. This is called the GB Super 10. I love this guitar for many reasons. I like the color. I like how well-made it is, which is typical of Ibanez. They make well-made instruments. And this is one of them. It's very beautiful. Something you love to have in your hand too. But this is the first of its kind.
And so I want to turn this video into a bit of a discussion about gear, why I got this guitar, what you should consider when getting gear, at least how I think about it. And hopefully we can discuss in the comments below what our approach to getting new gear is. So I know that's important to a lot of guitarists, and I don't actually, buy much gear. You haven't really seen gear reviews on this channel. And I want to kind of mention that because now we are discussing some gear, this amazing brand new guitar. And this was recently available because George Benson put up on Reverb some of his guitars that he has owned and played. And I didn't ever think that this would be possible to get one of these. I figured easily the ones that he's gonna be putting up are gonna be an auction for $100K and up. But But I told myself if there was one that was in a price range I could, reasonably afford, over time, paid over time, that I would give myself that opportunity. And so when I saw that the shop had opened, I kind of freaked out a little bit. I was actually on the phone with my brother, and I was like, wait a second, there's a few here that I think are really special. And there's a few interesting things about this one in particular. Many of you guys have seen my other Ibanez, my red Ibanez Art Core, right? And so this one is very similar to that in its kind of red styling. And so I'm kind of partial to that style. This was the only one available on a Benson shop that was in that similar kind of style. I didn't even actually realize this until afterward, but the guitar that I'm holding right here is actually the same guitar that was in the campaign that we were fortunate enough to work with George Benson on for his latest album. And so it has another extra meaning there because it was part of that same campaign that I got to work with. And I want to touch on that point. So the way I think about gear is really this combination of deciding if the thing I want to buy is either a tool or a treasure. So those are that's the two concepts I want to discuss with you today. So this clearly falls into that category of treasure. And then something like this, my other Ibanez, while having some meaning as my main guitar over the years, is much more a tool. And so the way I think about, let's talk about tool first. As a musician, you have to first think about what is the purpose of that new gear you're considering. And I know a lot of you guys are hobbyists, some are professional musicians. It's going to be different depending on what your actual use is for the guitar and your goals for that. But let's just assume you're a musician who is playing. I'll take my own context and you can apply that to your own situation. Is that when I'm thinking about gear, I'm thinking, okay, is this tool going to be high quality? And I break that down into three other very simple things. Does that tool sound good? Does it feel good? Or is it easy to make use of or play? And then thirdly, is it long lasting? Because I don't want to have to buy, if you buy any sort of cheap gear, it ends up being just more of a pain because you have to repair or buy it again or buy a different version. So those three things, sound good, feel good, long lasting. That's what makes a high quality tool in my mind. And most of the time you can get that category for relatively cheap, right? When I bought the Ibanez Art Core, it was basically my first guitar after one of those Squire starter packs. And it was around $500, a little bit more because of the upgrade that I got, but basically around $500. And you can get great Art Core around that price even still today. When I recently bought my PRS, which is over there somewhere, getting ready for a gig, that was also about $500, right? And that one has a specific purpose. So when I got that one, yes, it looked nice, yes, I wanted it, but the point of that was because I don't have another guitar that can fulfill what that one does, right? It's 24 frets, has the tremolo, it has the pickup switching so that I can change between a single coil or humbucker type sound. And for a lot of the gigs I'm doing right now, that kind of guitar is way more effective for what I need to do than my Ibanez Art Core. It's a lot of like pop, funk, R&B type stuff. A lot more effects involved with the setup, and that just really actually helps the music, right? It's very easy to convince yourself that the new guitar is going to make you sound better. I think it's only true when you're actually in a situation where that guitar reasonably does, right? Another example, the Yamaha SLG behind me, the nylon. I didn't have a nylon guitar before that guitar because I didn't need one. But then I got asked to do some wedding gigs where they were requesting and requiring a classical nylon guitar. And so then in order for me to do that gig, I needed a nylon guitar. And so I looked up good ones, but I'm not buying a super expensive one. This one I think was like $700. Again, anywhere under $1,000, you can find a great quality guitar that's gonna last you forever and sound great. And the SLG is also great for that and also for traveling. But you wanna make sure that when you're getting the guitar or whatever gear it is, it has that kind of purpose. Now let's move on to this treasure category. And the way I think about that is just two things. It should be one of a kind, or at least special enough that it has sort of that unique flavor. And then the second part, having some special meaning to you, some personal meaning to you. For example, just because it's expensive doesn't mean it would fall into that treasure category. If it really doesn't have any personal meaning to you, or if you're not going to make use of it or enjoy it in any way. For me, I'm not a huge Les Paul fan. I just haven't had anything that, it's not the playing style of what I do. And so even if there was a $10,000 beautiful Les Paul, it's not going to have any sort of personal meaning to me. I'm not going to be interested in it, you know? Whereas obviously something like this, George Benson's personal guitar, has a lot more personal meaning to me, and because of all the connections from the campaign we did, etc. So that's how I break up the thought process. I'm really interested to know how you guys think about this idea of getting gear. One more example that might be interesting to you on the side of tool where you would want to buy more expensive than normal. I'll give you the example of my pedals, right? So when I was first starting out getting pedals, even though I knew it was going to be an expense and a sort of an investment, although not really an investment, but in a sense, I used them on gigs, so it was necessary for my gigging career. I bought the highest quality pedal that I could reasonably afford, because if you buy the cheap end one, you just then are delaying eventually getting the best one. So maybe you use the cheap one for a few years and then you want the expensive one. You still buy the expensive one in the end that you're looking for. And that expensive one, if you buy it from the right brands, usually is also very high quality and lasts forever. So I just kind of skipped that middle process and just went right for the really nice Analog Man pedals that I was looking at, and not going crazy on all kinds of pedals. I only got the types of effects that I knew I would use, right? So we're talking about like drive pedals, volume pedals, tremolo, chorus, delay, standard type of pedals that you end up using no matter what genre of music you're playing. And since I gig in all kinds of different genres, I needed it to have that versatility. So those are the kind of ways I think about gear. I'm gonna really be enjoying getting use out of this one. I'll have some more videos on this guitar, featuring this guitar, as well as a comparison of this guitar and my Ibanez, so we can really hear the differences in how they sound. Some playing videos as well. If you guys wanna see any specific videos with this demonstrating, I will definitely take your feedback and comments below. A couple like sort of first impressions of this. One of the things I really like here is that the arch top size, like kind of this dimension, is not super big. I'm not a big fan of, I think it's like the Gibson L5s that have such big, wide butts to them, where it just feels a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not a huge fan of that. This feels very similar to my Ibanez Artcore, and it's just comfortable. So it just sits comfortable, going to that feeling good. I don't play flat wounds, so it is interesting playing on these strings, because I'm pretty sure these are the Tomastic flat wounds that Benson uses. But it's pretty comfortable actually. One of the things they mentioned on the description for this guitar was that the action's a little high, but for me this is actually pretty close to where I have my action anyways. Yeah, this feels pretty good. Yeah, I don't honestly know that I will change the action on that. Honestly, this is just first impressions. This is the first time playing this guitar, so I'm just kind of checking out. Other than the, cosmetic things, obviously we have some floating pickups here, and this doesn't have the other strap button here. So we have one on the back, but it doesn't have one here. They did include it inside the guitar case. I don't know if I'll add it or not. I'm not a huge fan of like adding the strap here, but at the same time I don't know that I want to modify this guitar or even get someone to add on to that. We'll see. I'm kind of undecided on that. Let me know what you think on that. Yeah, so we'll kind of play through this. in some other videos and just give you some of those demos. You know, we'll play through some of my favorite Benson tunes on this. Maybe even film taking it to Guitar Tech and seeing what he thinks of the setup, if there's anything he would improve or adjust on this. Just trying to get some videos so you guys can also enjoy this as well. I might even do some in-person events this year. And in that case, anyone who's attending, I would let you guys try it out as well. You know? This guitar sounds great. Also, one of my first times playing flat wound strings. I played some flat wounds before when I had taken lessons with Barry Green, since he also used his flat wounds on his Benedetto. And I honestly wasn't too much of a fan of the feel, but this feels pretty close to what I use. It's not a big change for me. I'll see you guys in another video. We will talk about this guitar a little bit more. See you in the next one.
He said, George, you are #1 jazz guitar player in America. I said, get out of here, man. He said, yep. I couldn't believe I had to see it. I look at the magazines. Yeah, that's my name, #1. I said, they put the weight on me. Now I got to practice every day. And I did.